we're going to try something a little different. We're on the road, and I played late last night, and I can't bear to set up a whole studio thing, so we're just going to walk around Jersey City. That's where I am. And that was a song that I wrote years back called Conestoga. That's what I think of as my road song. I love playing it, and maybe we'll play it as we walk around town. I never thought I'd live in a place like this, and I'll show it to you as we walk the streets here. But I love it here, and that's the thing about hymns and hollers and our time together, and why I've been inspired to do it, because it's all about rolling up your sleeves and digging into that thing that you thought you never could do. I thought I could never play spiritual. I thought I could never play hymns. I thought I could never live in Jersey City. But my life is better because I have. So let's take a little walk around and put this guitar away. I'll show you some things. There's a very cheap case for a very special guitar. It's an old guitar that belonged to Richie Havens. And, Richie lived in this neighborhood, actually, near the tail end of his life, one street over. Everybody thought that Richie was a New York guy, which he was for most of his life, but he found the need to get a little bit of privacy and moved to Jersey City. I think the problem with Richie was so generous. People knew where he was, and he would help out everybody. And the poor guy just didn't. He would help everybody who needed help or asked for it. Everybody knew where he was, so he moved to Jersey City, kind of was a little bit sequestered and hiding, so to speak. Take a look at this building here. This is if you have to have vinyl siding, let it be blue. I kind of like what they've done with this. So we're on.
You can remind people why we're doing it this way.
Yeah, we're walking the streets today of Jersey City because I played last night at the Hudson West Folk Festival in Jersey City with my group Swamp Cabbage, and so I want to take y'all to the site of the Vault Allure, where when Margot and I lived in Jersey City, we co-produced a festival, and there's, in the year and a half that we have not been in this neighborhood since the COVID, it has changed drastically. So many more apartment buildings.
Yep.
Go ahead and cross. So let's go over to Holland Street. Holland Street is an old cobblestone street, Belgian block street, that goes under a bridge made in 1905. And a couple of years back, about 4 years, the then president of the neighborhood association and I and Margot, and we just kind of looked at this space and said we could put a concert on it, Henry Weissman. And I wanted to show you all this because wherever you are, it doesn't matter if you're in Newberry, South Carolina, or Boise, Idaho, there are places where you can impart a big change if you allow your imagination to kind of take you beyond right where you are. And So consider this. The street looked much like it did 5 years ago. It was kind of overgrown with weeds and wasn't used by the city or the county. And I thought, well, up underneath that bridge there, I don't know if you can see the bridge, and we'll get
they're
there in
saying
a
it's a
second.
little hard to hear with the traffic.
Oh, okay.
So, tell them.
Okay, so
We'll stop in a second.
we'll stop in a second. This is we're improvising on this. Okay, so and the sun's gonna be. So let me tell you, this is where we hold the Vault of Lore concert series. It hasn't happened in the last 2 years because of the COVID, but I'm trying to make a point. You might not be able to see it because the sun's in the background, but we'll show it to you in a second. The weeds are overgrown on the cobblestone streets. This was all laid out in the early years of the 1900s, 1905 to be exact. But it's I just thought, how much of a it was just it was sad in a sense to see it in this condition, and some folks in the neighborhood got together and encouraged the city to clean it up and chop the weeds out and reinforce some of the block. And basically, we figured a way to use the space in an artistic way. And we couldn't have done it without the help of a fellow named Kern Weissman here in Jersey City. But you can do it in your town. I mean, I'm sure there's parts underneath bridges or in old lots that are not being used. And you can bring people together. Not everybody wants to be brought together in a church, you know? Sometimes, but the arts are a great mechanism for bringing people together. So I want to show you where we gave the concert, and maybe play a song a little bit. What is that bag there you got? Is that...
It's from Thurston and Mona.
Oh, I see.
I'm just trying to find a trash can.
Anyway, we're making this up as we go along. We've never done a hymns and hollers on the road. Ooh, now the lighting's changing a lot better. So up under this vault, is where we started giving the concerts, and since it hasn't been tended to in really a year and a half, it's gotten a lot of graffiti on it. But I invite you, if you haven't seen our website, you could just look up the Vault of Lore or the Holland Street Concert Series and see where this took place. And we're going to crank it back up again next year in the summertime. This is going to be the first venue for the Jersey City Jazz Festival next year, and really excited about that. So it's very interesting. Well, you know what? This shows hymns and hollers, so why don't I just do a hymn right here? And I'm gonna set up my guitar. This may not sound any good at all, but it may sound good. I'd like to say hello to folks in Port Jervis, New York. I played there with Swamp Cabbage on Friday night, and it was a really good show. And I know there's some people that kind of pay attention to this show and tune into it. But this is real road stuff here. I don't mind showing you my faults here. Well, they're not really faults, they're just my ungraceful side.
Let me know if I need to go a little closer for sound. Oh, people are responding. So
I don't think the wind's blowing, we're in a tunnel. Anyway, this is an old hymn I never thought my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. It sees my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. When through the woods and forest glade I wander, I hear the birds sing softly in the trees. Then I look down from lofty mountains grander. I hear the brook, I feel the gentle breeze. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Woo. I did all right on that one. I hope it sounded okay. And if it didn't, it's just what it is. You know, sometimes, often in life, we just have to say it's just what it is. But what I'm trying to share with y'all is you can impart something special on wherever you are. And that does sound egotistical, and I guess it is. Here I am saying, I'm imparting something special on this ball. Who am I to say that I can better this ball? So, you know, there's this sort of, you know, journey of, it's like I'm walking. There's a humility in that, really. Because it's not really ego. I'm not saying I'm bettering this ball. I'm saying I'm adding to it, and I'm also taking from it. The vault has given me something. Here I am playing, and I'm going through my head. I'm going like the audacity of me to try to play a hymn in a place like this. There's graffiti penises on the wall, and I'm playing a hymn. But I say, why not? You know? Why do you have to be in a church to sing How Great Thou Art? I mean, you can impart the specialness and receive the Spirit, whatever that is to you, any place. Just sit down on the metaphorical guitar case and sing the hymn. Sing the hymn wherever you are. And that's not a command. I'm just really saying that we can take a moment and just write a few sentences, noticing our life. I'm singing How Great Thou Art. You might might think, oh man, this guy's a Christian. He's trying to come on heavy. This sort of sales job for Christ. Christianity, that's not what I'm looking for at all. As a matter of fact, that's not really what I am. I'm just, it's the power that I sing. How great thou art. This is a song of humility to me. It's a song of praise. It's a song of praise of, and I'm really not saying, I'm not even saying that there's this God, this command central, this guy in a white lab coat, working the knobs of our lives. I'm just saying that all of this is pretty freaking amazing. Even if it's penis graffiti, all of it's pretty amazing. And I couldn't, the thought that I or that you are just the only factor in a place that we impart meaning is complete rubbish. And that's what I'm in awe of. That's the grandeur. That's the godly grandeur, if you will, that I'm in awe of. These cobblestones, workers put these down in 1905 or something, and they're long gone now. But this is what they left us with. And along comes me and Margot and Colonel Weissman and Joe Horowitz and all the people in the community who've come before us to preserve this area. Beverly Brown, Roger Hyman, and just, so many people. Becky Hoffman. And I'm thinking of people who volunteer their time to impart meaning into a place, to carry on the echoes and the hard work of the people who laid these cobblestones years ago and who are long gone. I don't know about y'all, but that's important to me. Leaving the world with something that other people who come after us can use and maybe make their lives a little better. I don't have children, so what I've got is my songs, and I've got the energy that I leave the world with. But I want to take y'all to show you something over here. Just a second. I found it yesterday. I don't even know if it's still here. I'm a collector of old guitars, and might as well take this with us. I don't like to, when I travel, even if it's walking down the cobblestone street, I don't like to leave anything behind it. Because, and also if I'm driving down a country road and I see something that's interesting, I don't really say to myself, I'll get that on the way back. There might not be a way back, I may see something else that distracts me, and then I end up taking another path. So I say take the photo when you have it, snap the shot. All right. Look at this, a trash can. This is just a miscellaneous trash can. What do we have here? It is this is the body of a, appears to be a Fender Stratocaster of some sort. Oh Lord, look at this. This is somebody, Pete Townsend, this guitar. And this is a Stratocaster of sorts that has been, the body was made, it's got a plastic shell with foam on the inside of it. Is this the way they're making their cheap guitars these days? I can't believe this. I cannot believe what I'm seeing. I have a wooden version of this that was made in 1954. And this is how far the model has fallen. They're making it now out of foam. Anyway, and this is what people do to wonderful spots sometimes. I don't know. I'm not going to go into that, but I want to take y'all to another space. If you probably can't see it, but let's go around let's walk down. We're underneath a street called Ogden Avenue in Jersey City, and if we get on top of this vault, we can walk all the way down to another city park. If y'all got time to walk with me, it'll probably take about 20 minutes. Maybe I'll stop along the way and sing another hymn. What we're going to see is a farmer's market that's happening right above us. That I think, I'm probably wrong about this, but a woman named Becky Hoffman maybe started, or
I think
was it Mo? Anyway,
I don't know.
I don't know who started it, but probably started way before they came in. But I want you to see these walls here. These are cobblestone walls, and it goes for about, I'd say, 100, 125 feet from one end to the next. When we have the Vault Allure shows, we position a projector against this, with its back to that wall, shooting on this wall here. So I remember 2 years ago we had a young image mapper artist, a computer artist named Andrew Keys, who was a student at Stevens College right down the hill, and he was associated with Bell Labs, Nokia Bell Labs. And and this is an example of how artistic collaborations can happen in a community. This guy was just a wizard with computer image mapping. And what image mapping is they can kind of vector out, put vector points of any object and project onto it, just that object. For instance, if they wanted to project onto the front of that van that's down there, he could take a picture of that van and just shoot a movie image just on that van. Okay, so what he did, I had the idea. Again, I'm a 60-year-old guy talking to a young man who's in college, and I said, can we vector out and map out each one of these cobblestones and put a different image on each cobblestone? So in other words, come in just a little bit, Marco. So what we did is, I said, look, just vector out around the mortar of each cobblestone. So the image, there would be like one movie and one image here, a different image here, a different image here, a different image here. And it was kind of tedious to program all that and to put in these points, but when he finally mapped it out, it was amazing. And he mapped out half of this wall. And we're gonna try to do something similar to that in the year 2022, next year. So just let's stay in touch with each other, and now we'll show you what we're gonna do. Now, I will say before we leave this spot that right here is where we put a circular stage, and I love that. I love the phenomenon of the band playing in the round, and the whole community encircles the band right here, and there's room for the neighbors to kind of pass on that side of the stage. It's a round stage. It's about 10 feet wide, and we had Jersey City Ballet on top of this round stage. We had Vivian Sessom singing. She's a fantastic R&B singer, jazz singer, and local musicians were playing.
Paris
as well.
Monster.
We had the group Paris Monster last in 2019, I think it was. July 14th, which was Bastille Day, and because of the French Bastille Day, we employed a group called Paris Monster. If you haven't seen Paris Monster, they are phenomenal. It's just two guys, and it's electronic music, sort of. I mean, these guys are actually playing, but they employ electronics. So it's really a marriage of technology and electronics. So check out Paris Monster. They just did a southern tour. And I love this question mark right here. You got to get a picture of that.
Oh, wait, I'm in the shot.
Yeah. I just love that. I'm fascinated by the Jewish tradition of questioning aspects of spirituality, and the older I get, the more I'm realizing that it is you can get pretty far by asking the right question. That's like, it's one thing to just float through life and just respond to it. But you can really enrich yourself, and I guess to me, I'm working on this concept of ambition, and ambition seems to go hand in hand with curiosity and a desire to better yourself. And I also think that that's kind of what we're sort of obligated to do as humans. You know, I just have a problem with metaphorically sitting under the coconut tree and just being okay with going to the top of the coconut tree and taking the coconut and coming back down, and that's enough in life. We're meant to use our brains. We're meant to be ambitious. And I might even propose that an unhealthy mind is an unambitious mind. Now, you can argue with me if you want and present a rebuttal to that, but I'm most healthy when I am in an ambitious state of mind, and I'm also occasionally not ambitious. Sometimes I just don't feel like doing a damn thing, and I'm also feeling very unhealthy at those times. But let's keep walking. Now we're gonna be.
Sorry.
We're anyway, let's walk through the farmer's market. Actually, let's go. One of the things that's changed about the neighborhood since we've been here is the farmer's market has expanded, and I just love what they've done with the park. Y'all don't need to know what a farmer's market is.
I do.
I just want to respect people's privacy.
Yeah, I should have a mask on right now, but I'm tired of wearing a mask. I'm certainly not going to do it outside. But, that guy. Go dogs.
Come here, Tito.
Go dogs. His name is Tito?
Tito, yes.
Oh,
Well, where I come from, they would call him Ugga.
Ugga?
Yeah, that means the University of
Georgia.
University of Georgia. Yeah.
so cute.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
I want to get a picture of this, Margot. I love the way they wrote this font here. I'm crazy about fonts. And that's just the way somebody wrote it, improvised. But I just love that. I'd love to have a whole alphabet of that font, the heights. So I want to show people. I want to show people this view of New York
Hi.
City. This is, I know you're probably going to see me get killed walking in front of the park. Right in the air.
Oh, that'd be terrible.
Yep.
You could just sit there with the back.
Sit here, yeah. Hopefully there's no dog poop.
I have a bag.
I saw some people here yesterday get married right here. They were an Indian or Pakistani, whatever that area of the world is, Southeast Asia. And they had a big white sheet of roses and wine glasses all. I know it was quite a beautiful moment. But this is, we're on the very tail end of what they call in this in New Jersey, the Palisades. This is a cliff, a mountainous cliff that essentially extends all the way north, going towards Albany, up towards Cold Springs, New York area, and West Point, New York. So this mountain, this cliff, just goes all the way north along the Hudson River. Sometimes it's closer to the Hudson River, sometimes it's not. Y'all don't tune in for a geography lesson, but that's what you're seeing here. Can people actually see the city in the background, or is it too?
I think so.
So what you're seeing is there's two parts of the bulk. There's two bulky parts of the skyline of New York City. There's this area here is the financial district, and you can see the new World Trade Center, the Freedom Tower, whatever they call it, in that area. And over to the left is what New Yorkers call Midtown. That's where a lot of the new buildings are going up, and I love it. I love these unorthodox shapes. Everything's kind of looks a little bit askew and out of balance, but they're very much in balance. The modern architecture is really kind of fooling the eye these days, and challenging our expectations of what solidness and what a building should be. I mean, I guess what I'm saying is that what they're doing is they're helping us to kind of, through taking chances and steps and trying to change the paradigms of design, they're inspiring us all to say, a building just doesn't have to be a rectangle or all straight lines. So I think subconsciously they're helping us to ask ourselves, how can my life be a little askew and balanced at the same time? Because every one of those buildings is balanced, otherwise we wouldn't see them right now. They would have collapsed. But they might not look balanced. They might be, this way, or have different vector points that just look so odd. But I love this is what I try to do with my art. I try to juxtapose the classic with the modern, and I love that about the New York skyline. Off to the right is the Empire State Building, and that was built, I believe, in the 30s. Maybe I'm wrong. And then to the left is all the modern stuff. If you really look at it, just to the left of the Empire State Building, you can see the Chrysler Building. Now, the Empire State Building is on 34th Street. The Chrysler Building, which is a little point just to the left of the Empire State Building, that's on 42nd Street. So it gives you an idea how vast, how long Manhattan is. It's 7 miles long, as I remember. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I think it probably is. So this is a view that I used to come to a lot, pridefully so, and I would be. This is kind of like a little bit of a church for me when I lived in this area, and I would be grateful and for me being able to make a living and to have some degree of stability and have a reason to be in this area, because it's a challenge to live here. If you live in the New York area, you really have to want to live here, especially if you're an artist, because there's so many things kind of working against you in a sense. But what that does is it keeps the talent pool up. If you manage to stay in this area, then your cohorts, your colleagues are pretty serious about their lives. Again, they're ambitious. And I feel like ambition is sort of a cousin of spirituality in that sense. I think improving ourselves and improving our lots and our condition is what we're meant to do. The question in the modern world is, can we do that without negatively impacting other people? And some would say, well, that's just human nature, that's animal nature. You take from others to improve your own condition. But I think in the modern world, we're rethinking that. And maybe that's naive, but I would hope that we can. I would hope that we can uplift others around us while we're improving our own condition. And that's certainly not a new concept, but let's walk on down to a little garden. I don't know if it's even open, but Margot, are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Do we have time, do you think? Maybe I'll do one more song. Why don't I do we can go over here and I'll do another song.
Okay.
There's a gentleman sitting here, but
You can ask him if it's okay.
well, I feel a little bit like I'm in jail there. I don't know if you can hear this. I'll get these plastic bags because they're gonna make more noise than my guitar will. Walter Park's on a sort of a mountaintop, if you will. It's a small mountain. It's called the Palisades in Jersey City, overlooking Hoboken, and in the distance is New York City. We're trying something new. I mean, I'm on the road, and I played a show last night with Swamp Cabbage with Rob Curto and Jagoda at the Hudson West Folk Festival, and you'll probably find images and movies of that online. But I hope y'all will go to the website, the Hudson West Folk Festival, and just check it out, support them if you can. They supported us, and comprised mostly of volunteers. A lot of the folks have corporate jobs or might work for the museums in New York City, and they, in their spare time, they run a music festival, a folk festival. Lo and behold, they figure out how to get money from the community so they can hire musicians like myself and other touring musicians and bring value to the community. Not just monetary value, but just making people feel happy to be alive. And what's not to like about that? I don't know why, but I'm driven to play a song from, oh boy, I don't know if I can. I was was gonna play an old Civil War song, but that just doesn't seem like the right side for it. So this is one by Jimi Hendrix. Here we go. I don't know if I can do this one. Well, she's walking through the clouds with a circus mind. Is running wild. Butterflies and zebras and fairy tales. All she ever thinks about is riding with the wind. When I'm sad, she calls to me with a thousand smiles. She gives to me free. It's alright, she says it's alright. Take anything you want from me, anything. Fly, little wing. Oh, take anything you want from me. Fly, little wing. Well, she's walking through the clouds. The circus mind is running wild. Butterflies and zebras and moonbeams and fairy tales. All she ever thinks about is riding with the wind. Walter Parks is his Hymns and Hollers. We're just improvising on the road last night. I played so late I didn't have time to do a sort of more of a TV kind of style production. I don't know if this will work or not. I think it's kind of interesting. Never really done a live walking around kind of
We did it in Cleveland.
on the spot. What's that?
Cleveland, we did it.
Oh yeah, we did this once in Cleveland. That's right. And but anyway, we're here in Jersey City, right across the river from, right across the Hudson River from New York City. And last night I played at the Hudson West Folk Festival with Swamp Cabbage, and Swamp Cabbage is Jagoda on the drums and the marvelous Rob Curto on the accordion. I invite you to check us out, check out Rob's work on his website as well. Let's walk on down the street, see if we've got the time to do that. I'm curious about a community garden. I've got to take these things out.
Now, are you going to return them or?
I'll put them in the trash.
Oh, Pandora says it's working. People are commenting. I just.
Pandora, how are y'all? I anyway, look out here. We might see some people we know along the path. You know, what's interesting about a neighborhood, if you're away from it for a little bit of time, and these days it only takes a little bit of time, everything changes so much, you barely recognize the place. They tore down the old lumber store where we used to buy lumber to build or remodel our house. It's gone now. Now there's about a 7-story building, and it's probably going to be about, I don't know, 100 units or so there. So the neighborhood's changing already in just a year. And the other thing is when you walk around or go into a coffee house or a restaurant, you hardly know anybody, in a year and a half of not being in an area. That's how quickly things change. And I sort of like that. You can kind of, I guess that can work for you if you travel around. Let's say we just moved to St. Louis, and for the most part, not many people know who we are. So we start writing our own story, and that's the thing I like about, in a certain way, that's what the artistic pursuit, and that's how, what am I trying to say? I think church to me is a place that I go to sometimes just mentally to give honor to my imagination, and it's in a sense to try to figure out how I can manifest the things that I imagine. I can manifest the story that I'm writing for my life. It can start with just how you decorate your apartment. And it doesn't take much money to do that. It doesn't take much money to just make a room, or make up I'm distracted by the music a little bit in the background. That's what happens to me with music. It doesn't take. It's pretty easy to change your situation, your environment. Like if your house is a mess and you don't want to come home to a messy house or a messy room and clean it up. It doesn't cost a whole lot of money to do that. So my point is, we can write our own story. Some of us to varying degrees, but that's what church is about to me. Church is realigning. Church is a moment. Christians take an hour and they go to a church and they pray together and they listen to a preacher give a sermon. But church can happen in a Motel 6, Church can happen in a museum. And church is where you take a moment to listen to your life and to say, is this the life that I want to be leading right now? And I have some Christian friends who are sort of mired in humility, and they would say, who are you? Who are you to decide what life you want to be leading? You take the life that God gives you and you work with that, Who are you to question your lot? And my thought is that if we are able to change our lives, then we're not taking advantage of the blessing that we have. So if we can change our lot, if ambition can lead to something, if we have ambition, that's a gift. That is a gift from God, if you will, or the universe. So it's almost like we're urinating on God or something, or just dishonoring the blessing to not try to manifest what our imagination can lead us to. So who are we to better our situation? We are us. It is our it is our duty. It is our duty to try to write our own story. And my good friend James Nave puts a lot of, he talks about that a lot. And he's a colleague of Julia Cameron, and he goes around the country giving these Artist Way workshops. And another point I'm trying to make is that I think we're all artists, you know? We all are writing our own story. And, what's that?
I just wanted to wait until.
Yeah, Margot's worried about people getting on camera, but I think it's inevitable. Where are we here?
Oh, wow.
Well, look how this person has written their own story. This is a wonderful cobblestone street, possibly inspired by the one we were on earlier on Hollers Street. They could have built anything here, but this thing looks like some kind of a cottage in England, and it's on the Palisades. I've talked a lot, man. You know, we're staying in an architect's loft in Jersey City, and it is so beautiful. Concrete floors, minimalist sort of furnishings and so on. And it allows the mind to be open. You know, we can, my imagination is triggered when I have space. I can't, possibilities don't even come to mind when I have clutter. I can't live that way. And this architect whose house we're staying in he understands that. He understands the import of space. And I feel like living. I feel like anything is possible when I'm in a house that's as open as the house we're staying in. I feel like anything is possible when I go to a museum, when I go to MoMA. And now, this is a great example of what's happening in this neighborhood, and I love this. Look at these buildings down here. These, at one point, I mean, underneath all this horrible vinyl siding, are sort of more, they're the wooden structures. And on top of the top of some of these buildings are these wonderful ornate cornices that have been covered up. And then you see a modern building, the result of which is having torn down one of these vinyl siding buildings, and they've done this, and I don't like this. I mean, this is. I love the modern juxtaposed with the old, and especially if the old is honored. And there are some examples of this.
It's a little bit of a walk if you wanted to stop for a second.
Yeah, maybe we should stop in just a bit. But I wanted to go down to this building. There's an old building where our friend Becky lives, and it was called, what was it called? Plowman's Hall or something like that. It was an old dance hall that's now been converted into a residence. But I don't know if we'll make it there.
Hi, good morning.
How are you? How are you? Good. Oh, this is an interesting street coming up. If it's the same street. Is this the street where the Roxy's on?
Yes.
No,
I think so.
I saw online that the Roxy sign was fallen down, or half of it had. We'll stop in a second.
Yeah, we could do it in front of there because.
In front of the Roxy?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? Let's go over here. You know, I had this. Sometimes you have this romantic idea about the way something's gonna be. And I had this idea that when we lived here that we could buy the Roxy building and make it into this music hall or this venue. And when I finally went into this space that was called the Roxy, it was so disappointing. There were low ceilings. It didn't look like anything we could ever resuscitate. And I realized this was just kind of a fantasy of mine that was based on really not much of anything, except for the name, the Roxy. Yeah, in fact, you see here, half of the sign has fallen down. I hope somebody saved the X and the Y. And you know, I just think this is, but what this is a perfect example of imparting meaning into something with a little bit of action. And by writing just those two letters being added to this sign gives this whole building some other sense of possibility. And it could be fantasy. Maybe they're not real. Maybe there was really nothing here to work with. Maybe this was just an old garage or something. I don't know why they called it the Roxy. I think it was actually like a meeting hall or something along the lines of an American Legion kind of place. But I went inside here once, and it didn't even feel like it used to be a meeting hall. But let's look at this sign here. I've never really read this. Images of broken light, which dance before me like a million eyes. They call me on and on across the universe. Oh, I guess that's an Einstein quote. I don't know. I don't know who these guys are. One of them looks like Alex DeGrasse or whatever his name is. Oh, that's Carl Sagan, and I don't know who that guy is. Kind of looks like Richie Havens. I'm sure y'all know who he is, but these are probably all astrophysicists or something. Why don't I do a song here?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Let me see if I can improvise something. I have a perfect song for this place.
You won't be able to move that.
I don't know if I can pull this off. Well, I think I can literally pull it off. Getting me on tape.
Oh, yeah.
Vandalizing.
No, I won't do
I'll
that.
put it back.
So Roger says Roxy was a nightclub back in the day.
Oh, fantastic.
And Pandora, yeah, that song was written about the Roxy in New York City, but it is, yeah. And I'm just going back to see if there's anything else I can respond to. Pandora asks who. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, who's the guy on the far left? Anyway.
Across the universe, the Beatles,
Oh,
John
that's
Lennon.
Neil deGrasse Tyson or whatever. his
Yeah,
name is.
but that's who that is. But
Yeah.
I should know who it is.
I think it's Richie Havens. He's as much of an astrophysicist, philosopher as these other guys are. So, this is a song, you know, since we're speaking of timelessness and so on, I figured we'd play something from the Civil War era. This is actually written during the 1700s and in Europe, I think, but was popular in the United States during the 1800s, during the Civil War. And it's a song that contemplates what purpose is. And it's an old hymn, the Civil War hymn called Am I Born to Die? Let me
And those are lyrics to a Beatles song,
I should know that.
Across the Universe.
Oh, right. Oh, images of broken light which dance before me like a million eyes. They call me on and on across the universe. Guide me, David. Of course.
Roger says it used to have a nice Art Deco bar inside here.
Who said that?
Roger did. Roger Heitman.
I should play the Beatles song, but I don't know it. All right. That's the risk of doing a live show. You can sort of. You certainly expose your fallibilities, which I just did. I should have known that. There we have it. Unrehearsed me. Well, am I born to die? To lay my body down? And must my trembling spirit fly into a world unknown? A land of deepest shade. What will become of me? Eternal praises on the dead. My spirit free. And so from earth I go. What will become of me? Eternal happiness or woe must then my spirit be. Eternal happiness or woe must then my spirit be. Edith Maya from 1740 or something like that. Popular during the Civil War. Am I born to die, to lay my body down? So, in a certain way, I look at that and I go, why bother? You know, it's weird. I mean, they're kind of asking like, all right, we know where we're going. We're going to die. So, good morning. How are you?
Morning.
In other words, what's the point? Am I going to go into eternal happiness or woe? The point is that we are given life, and for the time that we have it, and the time that we have metaphorical legs and desire and passion, we have to damn well use it. We don't have a choice, and if we don't use our resources and stir ourselves up, stir ambition up from ourselves, we become unhappy. And the problem is, you lose faith in yourself. You lose faith in your art. You lose faith in what you do if you don't do it enough. If you don't spend enough time with your partner, if you don't go to the museum enough, if you don't play the guitar enough, if you don't write on the page enough, you forget how marvelous it is. And that takes faith. It takes faith to say, I'm just gonna throw myself into a visit of a museum, or go to the library, or call my friend out for a glass of wine. I don't want to do it. I don't want to leave the house. I don't want to pick up my guitar. I just don't feel like doing it. But it takes faith that you know that guitar is going to bring you back something. Because it brought you back something all those years beforehand. And I don't know. Let's look at this quote again and see if that makes any sense in light of what I'm saying. Images of broken light which dance before me like a million eyes. They call me on and on across the universe. A million eyes. It's you know, how many people have looked at the Roxy and said, I wonder what went on in there? Or how many people knew what went on in there? How many people went on in there? And yet here we are. Thanks, Roger, for telling us what did go on in here. But you know what I see here are possibilities. Just like when I see this guitar. This guitar, even though this is Richie Havens' guitar, it's a 1967 Guild, probably used on his first record. This guitar is going to survive me. It certainly survived Richie. And here I am, furthering its life, hopefully bringing joy to people, or bringing at least, very least, inspiration to people as I travel around the country with it. And some young guy's going to get it after I'm gone, and maybe do the same. And at some point, people are going to forget who put that scar on it. They're going to forget who, with his rings, chiseled off the finish on the back of the neck, or who dug this trench in it. They're going to forget all that. And either they're going to inspire or let this thing waste away. And anyway, let's keep moving on. Do we have time, Mark?
Yeah, someone asked about Angel's point of view. I don't know.
Oh, the Angel's point of view. That would be a great one for...
Maybe Ogden's End.
Let's go to Ogden's Inn and do the Angel's point of view, and we'll wrap it up.
If it's open.
I still don't know who this guy is. He kind of looks like Leland Sklar, the famous bassist who used to play with James Taylor. And I'm sure that's not who it is. Neil deGrasse Tyson, I guess is his name.
Mm-hmm. They're scientists.
I feel so humiliated and foolish for not knowing the Across the Universe lyrics.
It's so funny when you read them the way you read them. You don't hear the song, but
no, I didn't hear the song because I wasn't prepared to hear the song. I wasn't prepared, and again, I didn't impart that meaning. I didn't bring to it that sort of preconception. So I just thought it was some Einstein quote or something, and I feel like an ass for that, but it doesn't matter. I wasn't really in the moment, and you know. Anyway, how long do we have to go here? It's going to take a while, I guess. Anyway, I'm on the road. We're playing I was in Jersey City last night.
Oh, darling.
At the Hudson West Folk Festival. And the night before I played in Port Jervis, New York. It was a marvelous place called the Upfront Exhibition Space. And we have a van very similar to this. It's a Sprinter van, about the same color. And I'm thinking about I want to point out the color of that Sprinter van. That's a putty gray Sprinter van. And the other day, I like that color, that metallic gray color. And you know, it's similar to this gray right here. It's not metallic, of course. I love that.
Oh yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah. So Roger will be able to clarify this. And this is the building I was talking about that used to be the old music hall.
You said it was Pullman Hall.
Pullman Hall. And so they let's just stop for a second and look at this building. I mean, I lived in this neighborhood for 15 years, and I never knew that this was an old music hall. And now you can see it. Now you can see that it has the grandeur to have those possibilities. But that's my point. It's my same kind of point I was trying to make about Richie's guitar. You don't know what went on in these spaces. You don't know what love was made. You don't know what sorrow happened, came from these. But you don't know the families that were created because people fell in love in these spaces. But you just know that it happened. And if you just bother to just think and give a little reference to some of this history, you feel connected to the past in a way. And personally, I feel emboldened to try to do work that will have some sort of life and some sort of timelessness to it. I endeavor to do that. I hope that I can do that. But again, that's ambition. It's what I'm trying to do in the kind of final lap of my creative career, if you will, is to I'm trying to be as honest with myself as I possibly can to be the artist that I've always wanted to be. One thing I've always done is to allow myself to make that exploration. And I don't always hit the mark. Kind of did though last night, and I feel real good about that show that we did. We went from playing a holler that was written in Scotland and probably the early 1800s to playing more modern music and swamp music from Florida, and we played a hymn, and then we played an old gospel song, and then we played a spiritual. We went all over the place, and I don't know, let's keep walking.
Oh, rake.
He has a rake and a leaf blower in his hand. And that guy had a Jersey City Jazz Festival sweatshirt.
Oh, nice. I didn't. Here's Shirley's house.
So we know the lady who has this house.
And she's the urban farm lady. Everyone knows Shirley.
She's got chickens and geese, and I just love it. I love Shirley. She also has some farmland out in Missouri, near where we now live. I've always wanted to. One of my regrets about leaving Jersey City is we never had livestock. I wanted to have some goats, but I don't know if that would have been allowed. Look at that wonderful mural that's over there.
Can you see it?
I think it's fantastic. They showed up with a mural artist from Peru or something about 5 years ago down at the vault on Holland Street where we started this video, and the city was so proudly presenting this artist, and they had agreed to pay him a nice fee to paint a mural on the underside of the vault, and it was kind of like a surprise presentation to the community. a few of us were around, and everybody was kind of scratching their heads a little bit, and I spoke up and I said, you know, I hate to say this to a fellow artist, but I really don't want you to paint underneath this wall. And what I knew I was doing was possibly inspiring the city to, sadly, not give him his permission. But I wanted that underside of the vault to be a blank canvas. I didn't want all the events that took place there to sort of be governed and restricted by the frame of that one artistic work. I wanted to be able to shine lights on the ceiling and make every moment different. And we started working with a lighting designer named DJ Preschool, and he did a marvelous job. Please, if you don't live in Jersey City, you don't know this concert series that I'm talking about, but it's called the Vault Allure. And just go online and look at some of the images that DJ Preschool shot up onto the walls. I love that building. Look at that. That is just it's fantastic. Again, somebody has taken now that doesn't look like real wood siding, but it's really wonderfully done. It might be wood, but I don't think it is.
I don't want to shine into their windows.
But no, but what a wonderful. It's not real wood, but it doesn't. It's so well done and so tastefully. It's just tasteful. It just looks great. So I don't know if we're going to be able to get into this garden. We should be able to on the Sunday, but this is at the end of. This is the end of the road, and it's going to be the end of this video. Even when we lived here, we didn't come down here much, but neighborhood volunteers, Kern Weissman and
Nick Buffum.
Nick Buffum, yeah, Nick Buffum is a big maintainer and a sponsor of this garden. Makes your life better, you know. It's. Can we go in here?
I don't know.
I guess so. It looks like we can. It says volunteer hours. Let's see what we have.
I think they encourage people to go in.
Well, I want to
Oh,
encourage.
this is so nice.
This is wonderful. I mean, is not our lives better by going to a place like this and just sitting and listening to our lives just a little bit? This is church to me. What a fantastic way to end our time together. And I want to show you something. Margot, we're still on, right?
Yes. We're probably losing people because of the walking.
This is a bench that I made. I made this bench about, I don't know, I'm guessing 8 years ago. And I made it for the garden. I haven't been here probably in 8 years.
That's not true. Well, yeah, maybe.
Since I made this bench, I'm not sure. I probably wrote something on the bottom of this, but I'm proud of this. I did this in one day. I just kind of designed it and made it.
Do you want me to see?
And I think it was originally, I made it to be a part of a circular. Let's see. I don't know if I can even lift this thing up. I might have written on it. Let's see here. Oh, look.
What did you write? Oh.
I made these benches for Ogden's Inn Community Garden in Jersey City Heights in July 18th, it looks like. July 18th, 2015. So that's when I made this. And somewhere might be my signature. There it is. It's faded now. Maybe I can.
That is wild. Do you have a Sharpie?
I don't know if I have a Sharpie, but maybe I'll come back later and refresh my signature. July 18th, 2015. It's holding up pretty well. It's rotting out on the bottom. But you know, you can do that with art. I don't know. The art speaks for itself. I invite everybody to kind of do something similar in your community. Thanks to Nick Buffen and Kern Weissman and Roger for keeping this place up.
And all the other volunteers.
All the other volunteers. And look at that wonderful mural up there on the wall. I'm going to do one more song and end it up here. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So was I right about 8 years ago? Or no, that was 6 years ago, I guess. Let me see here what I can do.
You were going to do Angel's point of view.
Oh, Angel's point of view, yeah. Let me sit right on the bench that I made. Maybe should I sit here or is it too much backlighting? Can you see me?
I can see you, yeah. Or maybe I should be on the other side, you mean?
So let us know, by the way, let us know if this kind of works at all for you. I know that people tune into us in different areas of the country, sometimes different areas of the world. We're learning what to do when we're on the road. It's difficult sometimes to set up a video camera with a proper mixer and to get really good audio. But I just kind of wanted y'all to see what it's like to sort of make something out of a moment. You saw me trip up, you saw me say some foolish things, and that's part of it too. I'm taking an artistic risk here. I'm taking a life risk, and I'm all right with that. Anyway, this is one I wrote when I was living in Asheville, North Carolina. I was thinking about the concept of a lot about possessing things at that point. You know, I'd see an old farmhouse, or it could be just obviously I always want to buy guitars and that kind of thing. But we don't really own anything. We just rent it, you know. We just have rights to it, so to speak, for a short period of time. If we think we really own something, that's just, we're fooling ourselves. And it makes me just wonder if we're if we've been hoodwinked or something. You know, the concept of working so hard to possess these things. But you know, comfort is a blessing. And I'm going to say this. Remember, we were talking about the gray Sprinter van. I'm probably going to go back to this, but I'm going to end this day of church with this statement about a toilet. The other day, I was buying a toilet. We're having a bathroom added to our basement because we're going to be throwing concerts in our backyard and in the park very near our backyard, and we want to have a bathroom so that the artists and the public can get access to during these events. And I hate white toilets.
Oh, there's a dog run.
I just despise, well, anyway. So I'm in this toilet store, and the lady, I said, do you have anything in an unusual color? And I don't like black colors because I think you need to be able to see things, so to speak. And But this lady says, well, we have this kind of putty gray toilet that nobody wants. And of course I fell in love with the putty gray toilet. And now when you buy a putty gray toilet, that triggers you having to buy these other accessories that sort of go along with it. And I'm going through her selection of fancy faucets and all these things. And I said to the toilet salesperson, I said, let's take a moment to just ponder how lucky we are for you to be able to sell me a putty gray toilet, and for me to be able to ponder buying the fancy faucets that go along with it. There are people fleeing Afghanistan, you know, taking the boats across the Mediterranean, or from Cuba to the United States, wherever. Certainly going across the desert in Mexico to cross the Rio Grande. There are people whose only concerns are getting across some border with the hope that their lives are going to be better. And here we are considering faucets for a putty gray toilet. How lucky are we? And she said, you know, I've never had anybody stop me and think about that in this toilet store. But I mean, it is a measure of how fortunate we are in the modern world to concern ourselves with these things. And I'm very, very grateful to local community people like Nick Beckham and Kern Weissman, who've given their time to make what would otherwise just be probably some sort of a dumping ground, so that life can be a little bit better. This is a wonderful saying. And the putty gray toilet is a wonderful saying. And I am so grateful that I don't have to concern myself with crossing the Rio Grande. But by damn, if you know somebody who has made that passage, or some other passage, please consider what they've gone through. You can only consider it. You can't know it. You can only consider it, and consider how grateful you are. Thanks for your time today. I'm Walter Parks. I don't know when I'll be playing again, but just check with my website. I have a new record called The Unlawful Assembly, wherein I've taken some old spirituals and reimagined them. The Unlawful Assembly is my new record, and I've got something coming out with Rob Curto pretty soon. And this is called The Angel's Point of View. Little angel, little sparrow, sing a song for the angel. She don't belong, she don't matter, not like she should. Him the devil, little angel, fly to me, let me touch you, let me see. I'm gonna listen, come around on the devil side of town. You can take me with the truth, you can be my living. I wanna see the same world you see too, from the angel's point of view. Little wee I'm an angel, no one's around, but I can't fly when the sky's not blue. It's too much trouble to fly through. Thought I would watch you there. Thought I knew that I'd be glad. I tried to see the same world as you saw too, from the angel's point of view. Little angel, I was blind. I tried to catch you and make you mine. I tried to save you, but what from? You're already loved, my every love. The Angel's Point of View. I'm in the Ogden's Inn Community Garden in Jersey City. We started at Holland Street, where the Baltimore is going to take place in 2020. It's going to continue. Support your local community garden, or dog run, whatever. Support your local artists if you can. Let me know what you thought of this broadcast. I'm sorry I rambled on from time to time, but that's just what happens when we're live and unplanned, unrehearsed. I need to study the Beatles more. I've been aware of that. Maybe I should do a show of the Beatles tunes in a redemptive moment. That's what I'll do. Maybe next week.
Shout out to Teresa Toro. Happy birthday, belated.
Happy birthday, Teresa. There's so many fellow Libras that are celebrating at this time. Thank you. I don't know what else to say. Thanks to Jersey City. Thanks to Port Jervis for the recent shows. And I do have a show coming up December 10th, I believe, in St. Louis. And I'll see you there at the Blue Strawberry. Walter Parks. Hymns and all.